the shadowy corners of folklore, some legends are whispered rather than told. Same was with the town of Hagsdale, where everybody went through a similar experience, but no one dared talk about it, but rather in hushed voices behind closed doors. Mr. Bob was one of the people who resided in this town, and the only one who could communicate with the other side. Entity mysterious and dark haunted the entire townspeople, scaring their children and them with vicious nightmares if they dared cross the big tree. The problem was that the tree was at the center of town, so every once in a while the people had to cross paths with it while going about their day. The entire town was tired trying to avoid facing the entity by taking long routes around it and falling ill if they couldn't. Few people whose children had suffered due to playing around the tree came to Mr. Bob for help. Although he was an odd man that didn't talk to anyone and lived alone, they were sure he could help. "We want you to talk to the entity and make an alliance," said the group. Mr. Bob looked down but nodded slightly. After a while he said, "What is the matter?" "We are tired of avoiding the tree. This is our town and we don't have to be the ones to avoid it. This town is our home and we don't like that it is unsafe," said Miss Rena among the group. Mr. Adam joined in. "Rena is right, Mr. Bob. Our children and us should be allowed to feel safe." Mr. Bob, still looking down, didn't say anything but listened carefully. "Why don't you tell it here?" suggested Rena. Mr. Bob jerked his head up and looked displeased with the idea. He finally spoke in a deep voice. "The entity has been around for ages, from even before your great-grandparents were born. And you want it leave? Abandon its home when it's you people who came into this town, knowing that it belonged to the entities of West?" The room went silent. "Mr. Bob, what does it want?" asked Mr. "A home," said Mr. Bob. Everyone knew what they had to do. The next day, the townspeople gathered around the tree and made a fence around it with walls of cement. It took them 4 days to complete as the tree was huge. Last, the tree was protected around and looked like a beautiful house. A door was made as an entrance for the dark entity. Now, when people walked around the tree, it didn't haunt them. Neither did they fall ill. Night, Rena went out for a walk, and when crossing the tree, she saw Mr. go in from the entrance to the treehouse. Her legs froze, and she couldn't move as she realized that the entity had been closer to them than they all knew. No, was nowhere to be found the next day.